insist on it. With that, I yield back.
Questions?
My question is for Speaker Emerita Pelosi. The Trump administration has repeatedly undercut efforts to address climate change, including removing the United States from the Paris Climate Accord and more recently, obviously, not offering any U.S. representation to COP30. Do you think that any efforts to ameliorate the climate crisis could be made under this administration?
Well, I'm going to yield to you because you just came back and you saw the enthusiasm that 80 countries had that.
I think it's going to be difficult. But I think the more the spotlight goes onto the Trump administration for its corruption, for the fossil fuel industry, for his donors, and the more we can compare that corruption and the terrible policy that it creates against where the American people want to be, it creates another wedge between the Trump administration and the people. And as particularly our House colleagues come to the November election, that wedge between the Trump administration and the people begins to have a big effect in those elections. And so I think you've seen it beginning with the Epstein dramas, but I think this is another issue that shows that Trump is not aligned with the American people, that he can't be trusted to protect people's pocketbooks in their electric utility bills and their homeowners insurance and their home values, and that becomes a powerful political issue that gives us the opportunity to correct their corrupt policies.
I would add that mobilization has been my own thing. I say inside maneuvering to get things done, but outside mobilization makes it all the better. And the outside mobilization on this issue among young people is very vital, to the point that the distinguished senator made about us winning the House. When Speaker Jeffries takes over, we won't be able to get new legislation because doubtful that there's an understanding of truth and trust on this subject in the White House. But we will be able to hold in check some of those things. And on that point, I yield to you.
Well, I associate myself with everything that Speaker Emerita Pelosi and Senator Whitehouse have said. As House Democrats, we plan on focusing the attention of the American people on three issues where there's a big difference between Democrats and Republicans: affordability, health care, and corruption. And in this particular space, as it relates to dealing with the climate crisis, a corrupt bargain has been struck, as Speaker Pelosi indicated, between these outside special interests, Donald Trump, and Republicans in the Congress, which is why there's no action in dealing with the climate crisis, because they are following the perspectives of GOP big donors. That's corruption in real time, and it's having an adverse impact on the American people.
Yeah, to Leader Jeffries and Speaker Emerita Pelosi, it seems like in recent months climate has sort of fallen lower on the list of talking points that Democrats here in Congress are bringing up. How do you think you can, if at all, keep focus on this issue?
I don't think that's the case at all. Affordability is the issue, and this is an affordability issue in every way, in terms of jobs, in terms of cost of living, and the rest. And also in terms of education, STEM, training young people for the future. That's who we are. But I will say this, just to that point in the previous question. Donald Trump is the worst president of the United States for America's children. The worst president American children have ever had in terms of their health, their education, the clean, safe environment in which they can thrive, including safety from gun violence, I would add, the job, economic security of their families, and a future that is fair and just in terms of yes, the planet, the air they breathe, but also the economic situation they are in. And he is giving them as a gift a $600 billion increase in the national debt for them to pay off as he takes away health care from them, takes down the Department of Education, and the rest of it. And that to this very point, the air they breathe, the water they drink, he doesn't care.
Thank you. Well, I mean, all of you, given that the renewable liquid fuel incentives in IRA, it's one of the few clean fuel, climate-related provisions to survive the current administration and Republican majority. Could you address how you view the role of liquid biofuels in reducing emissions, and do you support ethanol, like E15 legislation that farm state legislators are trying to push through?
Well, let me generally comment on the assault on the Inflation Reduction Act and the clean energy economy. And as Democrats, we're united in pushing back against the damage that was done, notwithstanding the fact that there were several, more than 20 House Republicans who said, hands off the clean energy tax credits and provisions in the Inflation Reduction Act, and then, of course, bent the knee to Donald Trump as soon as he ordered them to decimate the overwhelming majority. So we think that there's a lot of repair work that has to be done in order to get back to the place where we are standing up a clean energy economy for the good of the climate, for the good of communities across the country, the jobs that are created, the economic development, the lowering of electricity prices, particularly in an environment now where, because of the rise of artificial intelligence, we're going to see exponential demand for energy, and we shouldn't be cutting things back. So in terms of ethanol and that particular dynamic, it's in the mix of things, right? Important to remain a part of the picture related to the future, but I'm really concerned about the damage that was done to renewables, to wind, to solar, and to the opportunity that really was groundbreaking coming out of the Inflation Reduction Act.
As the ranking member on Environment and Public Works, I've told Republicans that it's something I'm certainly willing to consider, but waiting for their first offer. Should we do one more? And then the Speaker and the Leader have to go.
Speaking of climate and the administration, tomorrow the administration has announced it's going to issue new regulations, pretty much gutting the Endangered Species Act. One of them says that you will not be able to consider matters such as climate change in listing species as endangered. I wonder, what's your reaction to that? Are you going to oppose that?
Of course, this is all in keeping with their, well, let me say, use the president's language. He said this whole climate issue is the biggest con job in American history, always projecting his own vulnerability onto others. President Trump is the biggest con job in American history. And so what they're doing, again, this is God's creation. Everything in nature is connected. You can't just say we're going to do this or that and connect it from everything else in nature. But it's just as that's how they treat people. We don't want to have any differentiation with people either. That's why you have to have truth. We have to make sure people are not apathetic about listening to what is at stake here. Truth and trust in the collaboration that we want to have. Collaboration, the transparency of it all. And what they're doing, that's almost irreversible. That's why it's really important for us to win this election so that we at least can hold up some of that. And then hopefully we can have some truth and trust in the Supreme Court so they don't let him get away with destroying God's creation.
One of the points I made in Brazil is that at events like the COP, you see the smiling mask of the fossil fuel industry.
Oh my God, they're in heaven.
But if you want to see their true face, you look at what they are having the Trump administration do. And the depravity of the corruption, the depravity of the lying, and the disinterested in anybody's well-being other than the big donors, that's the true face of the fossil fuel industry, and we need to recognize that. Thank you all very much, and thank you particularly to the Leader and Speaker Meredith for coming over.
Thank you. Did you want to say something on that?
No,
Well, what about the Endangered Species Act?
Okay.
yeah. The failure to protect endangered species represents an assault on the divine creativity of Almighty God, and we plan to strongly oppose it.
threatening the Democrats about arrest and even death threats, just given the fact that they've been five.
It's an outrageous, unconscionable, unhinged, and un-American statement. We've issued a strong response. The